Welcome to this deep dive journey into the Starfish and the Spider, a book that reshapes how we think about leadership, structure, and the power of decentralization. In this series, we will explore how some of the world's most powerful movements and companies thrive, not because they have a charismatic leader at the top, but because they spread power, trust their networks, and grow from the edges. We'll talk about how Napster disrupted the music industry, why the Apache resisted Spanish colonization, what makes Wikipedia more resilient than traditional encyclopedias, and how organizations like eBay, Visa, and even Al-Qaeda operate without a center. But more importantly, we will discover how you can lead differently, how you can inspire change without always being in control, how you can build something that lives and grows even when you step away. Each chapter is its own story, short, reflective, packed with insight. You can listen while walking, working, or winding down. This is not a lecture, it's not a summary read aloud, it's a conversation about ideas that challenge the way we lead, work, and live. So, whether you're an entrepreneur, a team leader, a community builder, a teacher, a mentor, you'll find something here that speaks to you. Let's begin. Sometimes, the more you try to control something, the more it slips away. Let's begin with a simple image. A spider and a starfish. Both have multiple legs, but cut off a spider's head and it dies. Cut off a starfish's legs, it regenerates. Sometimes the leg even grows a new starfish. That simple comparison opens up a powerful idea. Centralized systems break when you take out the leader. Decentralized systems don't, they adapt. Now, imagine the year is 2000. Napster is exploding, a peer-to-peer music sharing platform, threatening the entire music industry. People are trading songs like candy. Big media companies like MGM go to war. They sue Napster, win the case, and shut it down. Victory? Not quite. From the ashes of Napster rise Kazaa, Emule, BitTorrent, systems even more decentralized and harder to control. MGM cut off the spider's head, but what they were fighting was a starfish. Let's go further back to the 16th century. The Spanish conquerors land in the Americas, toppling the mighty Aztecs and Incas by capturing their leaders. Then they encountered the Apache, a group of Native Americans with no central chief. When one leader was taken out, others would quietly emerge. There were no capital cities to burn, no single head to cut off. And so, despite superior weapons, the Spanish never truly conquered the Apache. What do these two stories, Napster and the Apache, have in common? They teach us this. When an organization or movement is decentralized, it becomes incredibly resilient. Take away the center and it keeps moving. This is the beginning of what the authors call the Starfish principle. In a decentralized world, power is not ordered at the top, it's distributed, it's shared, and that makes it unstoppable. The lesson in leadership, in movement, in mentorship, the goal isn't to build a massive spider that obeys every command. The goal is to build starfish systems where people can act, grow, and lead on their own. It's not always comfortable. You have to give up some control. But what you get in return is momentum, trust, and sustainability. Ask yourself, am I building something that depends entirely on me, or am I creating something that can survive without me? If your leadership ends, will your mission die or multiply? Because here's the truth, the most powerful movement in history didn't have one leader, they had many, and sometimes the leader was invincible. So, next time you think about power, think starfish, not spider. What if no one is in charge, yet everything still works? In 1995, a small strange company called eBay was growing fast. It had no warehouses, no delivery trucks, not even inventory. People were selling things to each other directly. Beanie babies, used cars, antiques. It felt chaotic, even risky, yet it worked. Why? Because eBay wasn't trying to control everything. It trusted the network, it provided the platform, and then got out of the way. In traditional systems, spiders, there's always someone in charge, a president, a CEO, a general. But in a starfish system, there may be no formal leader at all, or the leadership is shared, or it shifts. That's a radical idea in a world that praises top down command. But it's also why starfish organizations are so powerful. They don't wait for permission to act. The authors give us a brilliant contrast. Think about the Spanish army versus the Apache tribe, or MGM Studios versus Napster, or the Encyclopedia Britannica versus Wikipedia. In each case, the decentralized model may look messier, but it moves faster, responds better, and often outlasts the centralized system. Here's what's even more surprising. These decentralized movements can look leaderless, but they are not directionless. They operate with shared values, trust, and principles, not orders. The Apache, for instance, made decisions in cycles, not pyramids. There were no official rulers, just influencers, respected elders who earned trust, not power. And this is key. When one cycle failed, another one formed. Starfish leadership isn't static, it regenerates. So, what does this mean for you? If you're leading a team, building a movement, or mentoring others, maybe it's not about being the boss. Maybe it's about creating space for others to lead, not holding the steering wheel tighter, but removing it altogether. That's how people grow. That's how organizations evolve. That's how movements spread. Ask yourself, where am I trying to control too much? What would happen if I trusted the process and the people more? Let's go of the idea that success means sitting at the top. In starfish systems, there is no top, and yet somehow everything still moves forward. Maybe that's the kind of power that lasts. Decentralization isn't rare anymore, it's everywhere. We're no longer talking about a few rebels or fringe movements. Chapter 3 reveals something bigger. The world is full of starfish, and most of us didn't even notice. Look around. The landscape of business, activism, and even culture has quietly shifted. We are swimming in a sea of decentralized systems, organizations that don't rely on hierarchy but thrive through openness, trust, and autonomy. Let's start with Skype. It disrupted global communication, not by building giant telephone towers, but by turning every user into a mini tower. No call centers, no switchboards, just people connected through technology. And what about Craigslist? It replaced classified ads in newspapers by doing one thing, letting users post and manage everything themselves. No sales reps, no middlemen, just the crowd, self-organizing and self-policing. Then there's Wikipedia. No editor-in-chief, no board of experts, just thousands, now millions of people adding and editing content together. And somehow, it's accurate, fast, and more up-to-date than any traditional encyclopedia ever was. These aren't accidents, they are the result of a new model. No central leadership, no headquarters, no single point of failure. And yet, they scale, they solve problems, they outlast competitors. But let's be clear, decentralization isn't just about being cool or rebellious. It works because of the way people are wired. Give people trust and they often rise to the occasion. Let people own the mission and they will run with it. The authors remind us that starfish organizations aren't easy to spot. They blend in, they look disorganized, they don't wear suits. But under the surface, they are dynamic with influence moving in every direction. Ask yourself, where do I see decentralized models around me, even in places I didn't expect? How can I learn from those models, not just admire them? This chapter reminds us you don't need a title to lead, you don't need a building to organize, you don't need permission to act. Sometimes all you need is a shared idea and a network that believes in it. The future doesn't belong to the tallest buildings, it belongs to the strongest networks. You can't build a Starfish system on vibes alone. It needs structure too. By now, we know that decentralized systems, Starfish, are resilient, adaptive, and hard to kill. But how exactly do they work? Chapter 4 gives us the blueprint. The authors outline 5 core legs that every successful decentralized organization stands on. No CEO, no problem. These 5 elements replace traditional structures with something even more powerful. Let's walk through them. 1. Cycles. Cycles are small, self-governing groups. There is no one backing others, no formal boards, but there is accountability because everyone in the cycles share the mission. Think of Alcoholics Anonymous. No hierarchy, just cycles of people meeting, sharing, and supporting each other. Each group operates independently, yet the movement thrives globally. 2. The catalyst. Every Starfish movement has a spark, a person or small groups that start it all. But here's the twist. The catalyst doesn't control. They inspire, they encourage, then they step back. Like Moses in the wilderness, not the commander, but the guide. Catalysts are powerful not because they hold power, but because they release it. 3. Ideology. This is the glue. A shared belief system that binds the movement together, even without a leader. For the Apache, it was survival and autonomy. For Wikipedia, it's open knowledge for all. For Alcoholics Anonymous, it's the 12-step path to recovery. Without ideology, decentralization becomes chaos. With it, it becomes unstoppable. 4. The pre-existing network. Decentralized movements grow best on something that already exists. Family ties, cults, shared culture, underground forums, subcultures, online communities. The movement doesn't start from zero. It plugs into something people already trust. 5. The champion. Catholics sparked the fire, but champions carry the torch. These are the voices that amplify the mission, tell the story, and rally others. They are not the boss, but they are bold, loud, passionate, and every movement needs them. Ask yourself, which of these 5 legs is strongest in my team or project? Which one do I need to build next? So yes, decentralization works, but it's not magic. It's not just let people do whatever they want. It's a system with structure, values, and clear rules. When the 5 legs are in place, the starfish doesn't wobble. It runs, it multiplies, it thrives, even when attacked. So the next time someone says, but who is in charge? You can smile and say, the idea is. True leaders don't command, they catalyze. If you think of a traditional leader, you might imagine someone at the front of the room, giving orders, holding power, directing the troops. But in starfish organizations, there is someone different, the catalyst. Catalysts don't lead from the top, they ignite from within. They start the movement and then they get out of the way. In this chapter, we meet a few real-world catalysts. People like D-Ork, founder of Visa, instead of building a company with rules and managers, he built a system, one that could run without him. He saw himself as an enabler, not a controller. And then there is Burning Man. It began as a simple gathering of friends on a beach. No CEO, no profit, no formal plan, just an idea that sparked something bigger, radical self-expression and community. The people who started it, catalysts. They lit the flame. They didn't try to hold it. So what makes a catalyst different from a traditional leader? Let's break it down. 1. Catalysts trust the system. They don't micromanage. They believe people, when given purpose, will act with integrity. 2. Catalysts lead by influence, not authority. They have no formal power, yet people listen to them, follow them, and build because of them. 3. Catalysts are reluctant to take credit. They often disappear into the background. To them, success is when others lead. 4. Catalysts inspire action. They don't lecture. They ask questions. They encourage. They provoke thought. And in doing so, they awaken something in others. 5. Catalysts focus on values, not control. They repeat the core ideology over and over, not rules, but beliefs. This ensures that the movement stays true to its essence, even as it grows. Ask yourself, do I inspire people to act, or do I wait to be followed? Am I willing to let go of control if it means others grow? The hidden power of the catalyst is subtle, but seismic. Catalysts don't just build systems, they build belief. They leave fingerprints on art, not just org charts. And perhaps most importantly, they know when to step aside so the starfish can grow its next leg. If you've ever felt like your leadership style doesn't fit the mold, if you've ever chosen influence over control, and if you've ever sparked something and let others own it, then maybe, just maybe, you are a catalyst, and the world needs more of you. Fighting decentralization with centralization is like fighting water with fire. By this point, we've seen the strength of decentralized systems, flexible, resilient, and hard to kill. But in chapter 6, we zoom in on the tension. What happens when centralized organizations try to take on decentralized ones? Spoiler, it's not easy. Let's go back to Napster. After the music industry sued and shut it down, they thought they'd won. But instead of ending file sharing, they made it stronger. Out came Kazaa, Nutella, BitTorrent, platforms with no company, no CEO, no central servers to sue. The lesson? When you attack a decentralized system, the same way you'd attack a centralized one, you fail. Because there is no edge to cut off. The authors walk us through more examples. Take Al-Qaeda. Government wanted to fight it like a traditional army. Bomb the base, capture the leader, but Al-Qaeda wasn't built like a typical army. It was decentralized. Local cells, independent actors, no strict chain of command. Even when a top leader was taken out, others emerged. Sometimes stronger, sometimes more vertical. That's the terrifying brilliance, the danger of starfish systems. They survive, they evolve, and they learn from every attack. So how do you fight a starfish? The truth is, you don't fight it the same way. You have to understand it, adapt to it. Sometimes you even have to become part of it. The chapter outlines 3 flawed strategies often used against decentralization. 1. Attacking the catalyst. But the system survives, catalysts aren't irreplaceable. 2. Imposing control, which only strengthens the starfish resolve. 3. Ignoring it. Hoping it will go away, it won't. Ask yourself, am I fighting systems with outdated tactics? What if the answer isn't more control but more flexibility? One insight from this chapter is powerful. You can't beat decentralization. You can only learn to live with it or evolve with it. And that's exactly what some forward-thinking companies are starting to do. Instead of resisting starfish principles, they are adopting them. They are becoming more networked, more adaptive, more people-powered. Because in the end, it's not just a battle between spider and starfish. It's a test of who can understand the new rules of the game. And the new rule is power that is shared multiplies. Maybe the future isn't spider or starfish, it's both. Throughout this journey, we've seen a clear contrast. Spiders equal to centralized, starfish equal to decentralized. But in chapter 7, the authors introduce something new, something powerful, the hybrid organization. A hybrid combines the structure of a spider with the flexibility of a starfish. It's not either or, it's both and. And for many modern companies, it's the secret sauce. Let's take a look at eBay again. At first glance, it seems like a starfish. Buyers and sellers connect directly, no warehouse, no inventory, but dig deeper and you will see. There is a formal company, there are executives, there are rules and dispute processes. eBay gives people freedom within a framework. That's the hybrid. Now consider Amazon. It began as a tightly controlled spider, but today, thousands of independent sellers list products on the platform. Amazon sets the stage, others perform. This hybrid model works because it balances two forces: order and control, freedom and innovation. Too much structure, you kill creativity. Too little, you breed chaos. But the hybrid, it creates productive tension and massive growth. The authors highlight a few keys to building a successful hybrid. One, allow local autonomy. Let teams or users make decisions close to the ground. Two, preserve core values. Even with decentralization, you must anchor everything in shared beliefs. Three, design clear interfaces like eBay's seller dashboard or Airbnb's host tools. Make it easy to navigate the system. Four, support self-organization. Let leaders emerge. Let users create. Let communities form on their own. Ask yourself, where do I need more freedom in my system? Where do I need more clarity and structure? The beauty of the hybrid is this: you don't have to choose sides. You can lead like a spider but grow like a starfish. You can build a platform and let others run with it. You can create the rules and invite people to remix them. In a fast changing world, hybrids may just be the future. They blend control with creativity, strategy with spontaneity, top down with bottom up. So maybe the question isn't which are you, but rather, how can you design your organization to do both and do both well? The goal isn't just to choose spider or starfish, it's to find your sweet spot. We've come a long way, from Apaches and Napster to eBay and Wikipedia, from strict control to shared power. But now in the final chapter, the authors help us answer the big question. So what do we do with all these? The simple answer, but not easy: find your sweet spot. That place between structure and freedom, between control and creativity, between spider and starfish. This chapter challenges us to stop thinking in binaries. It's not about choosing one model forever. It's about knowing when to lean into control and when to let go. Let's break that down. The authors outline key factors that help you find your sweet spot. One, the nature of your mission. Are you innovating? Decentralize more. Are you protecting lives? Add more structure. Different goals need different models. Two, the maturity of your team or network. Starfish work best when people are self-motivated and aligned. If your team is still forming, you might need more direction upfront. Three, the speed of change in environment. In fast-changing contexts, flexibility wins. In stable systems, structure might serve you better. One powerful metaphor the authors use is this: think of a guitar string. Too loose, it makes no sound. Too tight, it snaps. But in the sweet spot, it sings. Organizations are the same. Too much control, you lose innovation. Too much freedom, you lose focus. The best leaders tune their systems carefully. Ask yourself, where is my sweet spot as a leader? Where is my team too rigid or too loose? This final chapter reminds us that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating the space where answers can emerge from the network, from the people, from the shared mission. Whether you're building a startup, mentoring a youth group, leading a nonprofit, or organizing a movement, your job isn't to control everything. It's to find a balance that lets others thrive. So as we close this journey, remember, be a catalyst. Build cycles, share ideology, trust the network, design the hybrid, and always search for the sweet spot. Because that's where growth happens. That's where leadership multiplies and where legacy lives. We've reached the end, but this is just the beginning. Over the past 8 chapters, we've explored a world that doesn't run on control, but on connection, not on rigid systems, but on resilient networks, not on authority, but on influence. We've seen how organizations thrive without CEOs, how movements grow without headquarters, and how you and I can lead even without a title. We've learned that the best leaders today aren't always at the front. They are often the catalyst, planting seeds, guiding others, then stepping back. They build cycles, not pyramids. They release power rather than audit. And whether you are part of a business, a non-profit, a school, a ministry, or a global community, there is one big takeaway. You don't have to be the hero. You just have to light the fire. Let people own the mission. Let them lead. Let the system evolve, because when you build like a starfish, you don't just create followers, you create more leaders. As you end this series, ask yourself, what can I decentralize? Where can I trust others more? How can I build something that lasts even without me? Thank you for taking this journey. Now go and build networks, not empires. Raise catalysts, not soldiers. And create movements, not monuments. This is the starfish and the spider. And this is your time. Go.